Hello again, guys. I'll just flip this over again, forgot. For the second time. Alright, there we go. Alright, so back for the Friday night Manikato meeting preview for Moonee Valley, and we'll just roll into the Randwick preview for Saturday. Alright, so we'll go to Moonee Valley, soft sorting. So for me, no bet in race 1. I just think they're all going pretty poorly. I can't take Dodging Bullets, who hasn't won in about 9 starts, 8 or 9 starts, at $2.20. I just can't take it. So we'll go to race 2, and I found a bet there with Master Reset. So I haven't backed it yet. I think it can get out a little bit. I just think with the top weight, 60 kilos and barrier 11, I think it can potentially be a little bit unfashionable. And hoping for it to get to about $7, $6.50, $7. I think its last start run was far superior to anything this lot have produced. So top weight's obviously the issue and the speed map, but I think they roll forward from there. It was on pace last start at Flemington. It beat Home Burning Front, who was only beaten by Ullman last week. These are strong sort of listed level races. And his second up form's top notch. I think he's had 6 starts for 4 wins. His form at Moonee Valley, 6 starts, 3 wins, 2/3. So he's a big box ticket here. Just obviously the query is where he gets to in the map and then top weight. But I think the top weight isn't so much of an issue because he deserves it based off his form level. So I'm hoping for $6.50, $7. Look, if he's still 6 tomorrow night, I'll probably still back him, to be honest. But smallish bet there. Obviously he's no moral with the top weight and a few others with the case. We'll go race 3. So 1500 metres, benchmark 84. Look, Foxhall very hard to beat. Yeah, the one I was interested in. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I used to be a fan of the horse Shards when he was at Godolphin. He was a talented 3-year-old. He used to run against Press Statement and in these sort of Group 1 races, but he was disappointed. Didn't really kick on. I think they struggled to work out what his best trip is, but I think that sort of mile's probably his best trip. I think his form around 1500, 1600 metres isn't too bad. And he's been off the scene a while. He's with Hayes and Davennig now, and that stable's flying. And he went over to Adelaide and he flashed home first up after missing the start. So he's performed well at Moonee Valley in the past, and I just thought he was something that, you know, potentially can springboard off that second up and get back to some of his old form. And I think the horse definitely has in his locker to be competitive in a race like this. So we've only got 8 runners in the race now, a couple of scratchings. So look, I'm not sure whether to go forward or back, but I was going to have a little play each way, but we only get $2.50 to place now. So look, I'll wait and see. Maybe he drifts, but he was potentially someone I was interested in. You know, not much other interest in the race. I think Foxhall and Imperial Augustus, the first and second favourites, obviously the ones that are coming off the best last start runs along with Shards. But Shards did appeal to me a little bit each way. We'll go to race 4, 1000 metres, 3-year-olds, and Medinati's back to 3-year-old grade here, and I have bet up, so I'm already on Medinati. I've on at 460. I've used a multiplier, got on at 4, got up to 460. So thinking there is, so 3 runs this prep. First up the straight, she was only beaten by Crown Witness. She carried 60 kilos, great effort, was only just collared late by a very talented horse who until last start was undefeated. And last start she only got beaten home by Jukebox, Formality, and I can't remember who came third, but she's been beaten home by some good ones. Oh, who was it? Lone Eagle. So these are pretty good horses she's been beaten home by. So, you know, Medinati giving her 5 kilos or so is a big effort. Sitting duck up the straight. Then she went up to Sydney. She come 4th in the Pariah race. That Pariah won first up. It could have been the run, not the Run to the Rose. It was not the Rosebud. San Domenico, I think it was. So she didn't lead, and I think she's at her best when she leads. But she gave a big kick. She was beaten home by Chauffeur flashing late, and I'm not too sure. No, I'm not too sure. But she was in the mix. She was in the mix there in a race. I didn't think she was suited in 1100. She's clearly better back in the 1000. And then last start, she carried the same weight as Super 2 as an older mare. sort of was, didn't lead again, was unsuited by her running position and boxed on for third. So I thought she ran quite creditably. Rock and Gold ran over her late, but she was unsuited to the weight scale as a 3-year-old filly. And now she gets back to 3-year-old filly grade. Of course she goes back up to 60 kilos, but I think in this race, they're going to be desperate to lead from barrier 9, and if she can lead back in her own grade, I think she's going to be very hard to catch. The danger comes from clearly Smart Coupe. This thing has a lot of ability, 2 from 2, but it's a step up in grade. She hasn't versed a horse like Medinity before, and she's won at 1100 and 1200, and now she comes back to 1000. So they're the queries, whether she's as effective at 1000, but there's probably no dramas first up, 1000 metres. She's a speedy horse, and look, she's obviously a good chance. I think Nature Strip is under the odds. I think, did what she did on debut, on debut as a gelding. But Mornington 1000 metre race stepping up in grade here, so I think you're not getting much of a price to find out whether he's up to horses like Medinity. So I've got it down as a 2-horse race, and I've backed Medinity because I just think those form lines are very strong for this race, while the others are rising in grade, but she's dropping in grade. And I'm happy to be with the runner that's going forward and has performed well at the track before as well. Race 5. The 955 metre race. So Danuki was one I was interested in. If you watch a Saturday preview, I'd probably prefer him on the Saturday race because it's a smaller field, and some of these big fields can be messy. But he was the one that I had as the track and distance suits him, and he was only collared last start by Rock and Gold, which is what I mentioned in the Saturday preview show. And he's well in here. He's versing easier horses, so I think I could back him in either race that he goes to, but I just think we're getting a better price for the Saturday one. Lady Esprit's the one who, sort of her last 2 runs she's been disappointing, but she's had excuses, she's been a bit unlucky or just been in the wrong spot. First up this prep, she was 3rd behind Heavily and Miss Rock, and gee, that bodes well for a race like this. That's very strong form. She loves the track and distance. She's performed well here in the past, and barrier 3 means she'll suck up on the inside. She'll probably need luck getting out, but I think she can bounce back. But she's probably well found enough at 480 with, she's no guarantee to get luck in running. I think Petite Reward's a chance. She has good 1000 metre credentials as well. And a bit of an open race outside of those two, but probably a race I'm not going to bet into, to be honest. Looking sort of through it now and sort of running through it in my head and vocalising it all. You can make a case for a number of them. Maybe Danuki, but if Danuki goes Saturday, maybe not a bet. I think Lady Esprit is well found enough. I would have liked to have found her, but I think at 480, I think, it's pretty short his price. Race 6. So race 6, we go to the Emerson Handicap for the fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. I like a few runners here. I think Pygmy. I was looking for bigger odds. I just thought she was the type of runner who, reading the form guide, going no good. But, at the end of last prep, she was huge in the Queensland Oaks. 2nd behind Egg Tart, flashed home, huge run. Went out for a spell, comes back. Unlucky in the Tibby. That was a messy race. She was held up, looked to have a lot to offer. And, you wanted to follow that next start. Then she went out to the mile last start, but in the sort of Oklahoma girl race, I think Invincibella won it. Was unlucky, stuck on the inside. It was an on-pace sort of day as well. So I just think she's had excuses this prep, but I think she was finally getting out to 2,000 metres with suits. Now there's a problem that she's at Moonee Valley and she's a get back run on horse from barrier 11. So if they're swooping, yeah, sure, she comes into calculations, but you're hoping she's up to this grade. First time Melbourne, first time Valley, get back on run on style. I just thought we'd get better than $8. So, but I'll be including her. I hope she can drift a little bit. I won't be concerned if she drifts a bit too, because I think she'll probably get out to her right price based off that kind of thinking that I've got. Falaika, running well. 2 last start wins. Two wins in the last 2 starts. Over the distance. But the thing is, she'll get back as well. She'll probably need luck from gate 3 and she'll be midfield or worse. Once again, I've got a question mark on the track pattern. Sebring Dream, I think, is a decent play here because she's going to box seat from barrier 4. It's arguable what her best distance is, but she has run a 2nd. I think it was could have been in the Ether or one of those filly races over 2,000 before the Oaks last year behind Tiamo Grace, who was flying at the time. And she's in good form. She hit the line well first up, and then she won last start at the track. So winning at the Valley bodes her really well here. She comes third up, box seat, so she probably ticks more boxes than Falaka and Pygmy at this stage. 550 looks fair. Smart as you think, in the mix. It's hard to discredit her as a top 4 or top 3 chance, but hard to back her. She's won 1 start now from 17 goes. It's a pretty terrible strike rate. And last start, absolute PR, perfect run in transit, and was run over the top of by Falaka. She might be a cat. So, if you're doing exotics and first 4s, throw her in for the placings. Quaddy, you could probably leave her out based off her strike rate and the price we're getting, but hard to just totally discredit. And then history repeats. I just think, Moonee Valley's going to suit her. She's lightly raced. The others are, have done more compared to what she's done. But I think from barrier 12 they're going to have to boot across, and I think if it's on pace, I think she can hang tough potentially for a place. But once again, I thought 850 is no spoil. So out of them so far, I'm looking at Sebring Dream. I think she's probably the best play, and I'm hoping to get Pygmy at a longer odds if they're swooping. So, and then Falaka no knock, but $4, she's probably a right price. Interesting race. Race 7, Manikato Stakes, and I think Vega Magic's a moral. Look, he's short enough now. I want it $4. I took $4 once they confirmed he was going there all in, and I didn't realise the price I had on it at the time. I thought I had her at 11s, but I got her at 15, which is a huge price. She's $5, and they're clear top 2 picks. So, Vega Magic was probably a moral beaten in the Everest. So he was snagged back by Williams, restrained. The horse was over racing, didn't like it, wide. Worst part of the track, still finished off beautifully to get second. Goes back down to Melbourne now. Hasn't been at the Valley, but I can't see how Valley will be an issue. He's a jump and run sort of horse. He should be leading. Williams should just go barrier 3, straight to the lead. I can run over 1400, so even if we're slightly quick, I think I'll be there to tough it out. If someone wants to take me on, good luck. I don't see how they beat him. In her time, barrier 2, so she could try and hold him out for the lead, or she'll probably sit behind him, I think, personally. But she's tough, good mare. And she's run well over 1350, 1400 before as well. So, she'll be tough at the end of it. I think she's a clear second pick. Then you go to Chautauqua. You can't totally write him off. He's a very good sprinter, probably champion sprinter. He'll get back and he'll try and come around them. If the track's playing that way, he comes right into winning calculations. If it's not, he's probably got no chance from coming from back in the field. Like if Vega Magic beats him home after being unlucky at Randwick, I find it hard to see how Chautauqua can beat him home at the Valley here, even though he has performed well at the Valley before. Rock Magic could be a place chance. I think he's third up here and gets out to 1200, and English obviously Everest form as well. I think she's running quite well. She's had a bad barrier last start, but she gets a better gate this time, and she's clearly a place chance. It's probably they're the 4, I think, for me. Malaguera wide gate, got to be against. Hey Doc, don't think he's up to him at sprinting level. Voodoo Lad, don't know how he matched from barrier 1, don't think he's up to him. Spieth, no good. I think Vedora is probably her best form's 1,000 metres. I'm not sure how strong that Moya Stakes form's going to be. These are rock hard, strong horses here, and Super Cash produces her best first up. So, race 8, last race of the night, 1,200 metres. Hell of a Street has claims, good first up, coming up from Tasmania. I think Bassett's best form, brings him right into calculations. He's a track and distance winner too, so he could peak third up at the track he's performed well at in the past. So my query is he going as well as last preparation? I don't think he is, but whether he's come in soft, I'm not sure. But I didn't think $5 was very generous. I think they could have offered us something else based off his first 2 runs his prep. Miss Gunpowder was good first up. She once again draws a wide gate. I think she did last start too, so I don't know where she gets to. If they go back on her, she's going to need a pattern to be in her favour. If they go forward, she's not an out and out speedster. So the thing is, if she goes forward, she could get posted. She's no guarantee to get to the lead, and if she goes back, I don't think she's dynamic enough to come over the top of them. So while she ran well last start, I think she's a horse who needs a nice soft gate and get the right run to be winning a decent race. So not against her, just it's hard to back her at $5. So the top 3 are all in the running, and I think they're all pretty even. And Sir Bubble's been scratched, so I thought he was dual noms, but there we go, he's out of the race. So they were the only 3 I was kind of looking at. I think Suspense is a little bit outclassed against those top 3 here, and he doesn't really meet them very well at the weights. Demonstrate has had a few poor runs in a row, and Rudiger's been poor for a while too. So that's how I'm looking at that race. So that's how I'm looking at Moonee Valley Friday night. Once again, same as Saturday, keep my hands in my pockets, especially for those later races. Going to see how the track plays. And probably I'll have bigger bets on Saturday. I've got a few that I'm keen on, like I mentioned, Master Resets. We'll quickly run through it again. Shards potentially, not sure on him yet. Medina I'm on. Scared of Smart Coupe though. Danuki, yeah. Lady Esprit, she gets the longer odds. Sebring Dream, I'm probably going to back. Potentially Pygmy. Or History Repeats, depending on track pattern. I might potentially just declare it now that if it's on pace, History Repeats. If they're swooping, Pygmy. Vega Magic, and in her time, I've got a really strong hand in the Manikato at Vega 4, and in her time at 15s. And then the last race, might keep my hands in my pockets there too. I'm not sure I like the odds of any of them. So that's Moonee Valley on Friday. Should be a great Manikato. We'll go to Randwick on Saturday. So we'll have a look at some races there. So I'll be, reasonably quick going through there too, because I'm not betting in all the races. So I'll just find Randwick for Saturday and get the odds up, so I'm not speaking shit. Race 1, not really keen on anything. I can't believe Groundbreak. I looked in and thought, okay, he's got claims. Sparkle's got claims, but 260, 350, no thanks. Can't really back anything else. Race 2, I was not against I'm Serious. I think I'm Serious has a chance. I'll just scroll down here. But 260, I mean, I'm Serious is coming from, I can find her here, she's coming from Canterbury, benchmark 78, 1550, went up on pace, had a good run in transit. She only beat Home Think Like a Bird, who's a pretty mediocre horse. This is a harder race. She beat Home Think Like a Bird maybe half a length, and she had every chance. She's down in the weight, but she stays at 1500. I think she's a decent chance, but she's definitely unders. I think she's probably more a $4 chance if you ask me. So where'd I go? Obviously with that fact in mind, I've gone outside the market and I've looked at Just Dreaming. So Just Dreaming, good second up stats. Second up here, reads pretty poor first up, but you got to understand Just Dreaming was not suited. So I think could have been top weight or at least up in the weights. Went back from a wide gate, and that's not her style. She's a go forward horse. And now she gets to a distance where she's had 3 starts, a win in 2 seconds. So 1500 is clearly her trip. She gets an apprentice to claim a little bit of weight here, barrier 1, which means she'll probably go forward, a box seat. The query of Just Dreaming here is, we didn't really get much of a gauge first up, so there's still a chance she's not the same horse as Prep, but there's a chance that it was a hidden run as well. The other query is 1200 straight to 1500 is a big step up, so has she got the grounding? Will she be fit enough the last 100 of this race? But I think she's classy enough, and she ticks a few boxes here. And at 850, I've had to play. Dagny, I think I'm against at $6. I don't think Dagny's got much there. I backed her last week and was disappointed. Pumpkin Pie, you can make a case for, but don't like the way she sets up for this race. Awoke. So the thing with Awoke is she's been a bit of a. I wouldn't say she's got a chink. She's had excuses when she's lost. I've been on her last couple of starts, but she's been a little bit unlucky. But she comes off a trial win mid-preparation, and that's a big tick for Waller. If you look at Waller's record of when he trials a horse mid-preparation, they often come out and win their next start. She was unlucky last start. She's a complete forgive job because she tripped or knuckled, coming around the bend for home, and she boxed on okay. So complete forgive job. 1500 metres seems a good trip for her, and she finally draws a decent gate, barrier 2. So I've had a bet on Awoke and Just Streaming. I think I've backed both, and I think they're both good chances here. They favour obvious chance, but against it at the odds. Race 3, Security Sprint. I'm going to oppose everything out of the Grand Condor race at Randwick a couple of weeks ago, where it was at 90 to 1, and he just fell in. It was a bunch finish. Don't rate anything out of the race. So that leaves me out to pick me up. I think Super Maxi, I'm happy to be against him coming up from Melbourne, and thought he performed quite poorly in that race. He was weighted beautifully. He got beaten home by Medinity, who carried the same weight as a 3-year-old filly. Ozark was in the same race as Pick Me Up, so no, Machine Gun Jubs jumped out. More likely to back Machine Gun Jubs than Ozark and Pick Me Up because Machine Gun Jubs lost a jockey. But once again, I'm not too keen to back Machine Gun Jubs here. More looking at the 3 at the top of the market. So Nick Tock, I've got no knock. He's in absolute winning form. He's won four in a row. Before that he had a third, and then before that he won 3 in a row. So he's a winner, and he's an on-pace runner, and he loves 1,000 metres. So I think Canterbury is probably more so his track, or suits him being a leader. But I've got no knock on him. He's down a little bit in weight from last start too. I thought so. Seems to have this ability. I'm not sure it does, but it's been getting beaten by Icerich, which might not be that much of a negative. Icerich has been running well, but seems to loom up and not finish the job. And back to 1,000, I'm not sure he's an 1,000 metre horse being out of So You Think. Third up here, clearly has ability, but I'm not sure. And then you've got Tactical Advantage, who from what we've seen is the best horse in the race. Comes out of strong 3-year-old form. Trial was okay. He's got a top weight here and he's versing older horses, so we don't know how he stacks up. So, not sure who I'm going to back. Probably going to wait for some mounting yard mail, especially with Tactical Advantage first up. But those are the 3 I'm interested in, and I'm against those other runners. Like I said, Ozark 650, Super Max is 11. Actually, Pick Me Up's been scratched, so I'm against those runners there. So we go to race 4, Highway. Not interested, especially over 800. No interest at all. We'll go straight through to race 5. So we find a 1,400 metre benchmark 83 handicap. Stonebrook, obvious favourite, won 4 from 4. Can't knock its winning form. Thing is, gets away from Canterbury, so its form's been at Canterbury in these tighter tracks. Finds Randwick here and back in distance. So I wouldn't say they're negatives. I just think they're queries. It just means that the race is different to what it's been racing in, and it does go into a harder race. So I'm not really. It's not my style to back $1.85 at the best of times, and I just think I don't know enough, or the form's not exposed enough, and it's going up in grade. I can't take $1.85. Y Anchor, is 1,400 metre form's good, but how long does it want to be up for? It's been up forever. It's had 5 weeks off. Barrier 10 probably shows it's going to be back in the field. Probably going to look elsewhere for something else fresh on the scene. Polaris Jack has claims. It's coming off a good last prep, first up here. High Mist, finally back to winning form last start, and the horse has ability. It's always had ability. It's just never put it together, and it's just seems to have fallen right off the map. But it's hard to trust it backing 850 here. But I think they've found 1,400 metres might be its best trip, and soft gate. It'll either go back to what it does and run disappointing, or it'll springboard off and run a really good race here. I don't know which one it will do. Passage of Time, I'm against at the price. I think he's a little bit like unders. Comes out of the race in times of war, finished behind in times of war, and slow burn. And these are handy horses, lightly raced, but their form's not exposed at top level here. And question mark over 1,400 metres. He's yet to tick the box at 1,400 Passage of Time and run well there. Gambler's Blues is one that I'm interested in each way, because he finished behind Red Zell. It's just trials, beat home Deploy in the trial. So he trialled well, and then he trialled very well over the same distance last preparation, and ran a very creditable second over 1,400 first up. So I'm thinking they might be setting him up for something different, similar here. 1,400 first up. So barrier 7, only 55 kilos, but gets the apprentice as well, so carries a very further weight. If I'm going to be playing in this race, I'm probably going to be playing Gambler's Blues each way. And then either High Mist or Polaris Jack, maybe as a small saver. I'm not sure. But I'm not going to back Stonebrook, and I'm not going to back Passage of Time. Race 6. Zumbalina, top weight, so giving males weight here, and we'll be going back from barrier 9. 5 weeks off, coming back from 1,400. Look, I think she's a handy mare on the day, but I'm not confident she's going to turn up in winning form here, based off her last start flat run. Pick Me Up, I'm against, like I said, he's from that Grand Condor race. 2 excess coming from Wednesday stuff, stepping up in grade at $7, I'm going to oppose. So the 3 I'm looking at are Chalk, Redouble, and First Hand, who all come out of the same race. They were the trifecta that day. Chalk winning, and why can't Chalk win again? Because carries the lightweight again with the apprentice, so we'll carry the feather of 51 kilos, I believe, over the same track and distance. So barrier 10 will probably go forward. I can't see why Chalk isn't a good play, each way play at 950. Redouble had its chance last start, but in its favour, I'll give it this. It only had the one trial, so it could potentially springboard off its first up run and run well second up here. So I will give it that. It's in the mix. Could be a cat though. First hand was probably the best run because it had the biggest weight. Flashed home out wide. Draws a softer gate this time, gets Blake McDougall, so it'll get weight relief. So out of first hand and Redouble, I'm probably keen to back first hand and potentially Chalk each way. So that's the way I might play the race. I haven't had a bet yet, but I'll definitely prefer that form line to the midweek stuff of 2XS and Pick Me Up. And I'm just against Zimbalina, giving them weight, wide barrier coming off a flat run last start. Race 7, I don't like anything here either. I think the form's second rate. Can't back lead choreographer, couldn't win on Wednesday. Tumultuous is a bit of a cat. It's only won 2 starts from 17. No, Zorkening hasn't won for a while either. Wu Gok just flat last start after I backed it. And that's it. I can't possibly back any of them. I don't think any of them are going well enough or profile well enough for me to put my hard earned on. There's plenty of other races over the weekend. Race 8, Falante handicap. So strong 1400 metre handicap here. I'm happy to oppose takedown. Top weight. I just don't think he's the same horse he once was. And 1400, he's a weird one takedown. He hasn't got an electric turn of foot. I think over 1200 when he leads, he boxes on well, and if he gets a soft time in front or a sympathetic track, he can win. But he's not exactly a strong 1400 metre horse either, especially when he's trying to make ground. He just doesn't have the turn of foot. And top weight here, I can't see him sprinting past some of these other runners. So I'm happy to oppose him. Japona's mate's just cooked. It's been cooked for ages. I've had a go at supply and demand. I'm already on each way at $11. I like this trial. He's obviously ran well up to 2400 last prep, so he's obviously going to get over more ground. But he's first up 1400, which is probably the ideal trip first up. I think from barrier 11, they haven't got much of a choice but to boot across, to go forward and try and slot in. And if he can go forward, I'm anticipating they go forward. He's going to hang tough because he's not going to be weltering the last 100 here. And he may even win because his trial was great. Over 1050 metres. So whilst the horse has got good form over longer, he has got a bit of toe. He's won over 1,000 in his career, and you know, I've got the suspicion he potentially can come back a really strong 5-year-old horse here and go on to bigger and better things. Kaepernick's in the running. His best form's at 1200 or so I don't know how 1400 metres suits. It was okay last start. Hofgarden, once again, he's an each way hope. No, he's been scratched actually. Hofgarden, don't have to worry about him. Mighty Lucky's probably so supply and demand, and I might even back Mighty Lucky each way because I know what I'm going to get with the horse. The horse just tries every start. Barrier 5, he'll just go forward. He'll sit, a couple of pairs behind him. He's been carrying these big weights in pretty strong races, and he meets the surplus, the favourite, better off at the weights this time round after being second to him last start. So I think Mighty Lucky each way is not a bad play. Federal's a bit of a gunner, sort of one of those flashing runners, but he has good ability, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him flashing late. I'm just not going to back him. Moa could improve out of sight, stepping away from horses like Red Cell and Chautauqua, back up to 1400 metres in an easier race. Don't like Man of His Word coming back 1600 to 1400, but the horse is good enough. And Surplus, clear chance. I just think it's harder this time. I don't think he's necessarily going to get his own way up front. So I think he's got to hold off, better horses. Last start had the favours. Might not get the sympathetic run. It might not be sort of on-pace bias on Saturday. So I'm not going to back Surplus at the price. It's $4.20. I'll be more looking at Mighty Lucky each way, and I'm already on supply and demand each way. Last race for the day, race 9. It's 1800 metres. Interlocutor looks an absolute moral. Third up, he's gone 1400, 1600, 1800. Just beautiful profile of stepping up in distance. Barrier 5, perfect map. Just it's not my style, stepping into $1.85. but I can't back anything to beat him. So, and Embly's been scratched. I just saw that Embly's been scratched. He would be my second pick, and man, if his word's been scratched, third up, 1800. You know, there's things I could have been interested in each way. So, $1.80 Interlocker. Maybe I might just watch him go around. Don't think they can beat him. Black on gold. Jaminza. I think they're around the mark. Maybe Jaminza's a shade of overs. Barrier 1 is a bit iffy though for his style. He seems to want to come down the outside of them. Black on gold, same as him. I think he's better coming around them, but you know, down in the weights, has upside. Sick of imposing Lass. I couldn't back New Tipperary. I think he's a little bit of unders there with top weight, with a big weight and get back run on style. And Etymology's last 2 runs have been too poor for me to back. So Interlocker, it probably looks immoral, but I don't think I'll step into the $1.80. So that's it for Saturday, Randwick, and Friday, Moonee Valley. Once again, feel free, obviously, rewatch the video. It's hard for me to declare what I'm going to back sometimes 3 days before. Like I said, I've made the mistake last week of going heavy on Allwood I think on Wednesday when markets opened. Turned out to be a soft track, and I wasn't too keen on his chances on a soft track. I preferred Destiny's Kiss. And obviously I did my money there. He did look like he only got done sort of late in the race. But, you know, Moonee Valley's a tricky track, and you know, I'll wait to see the fluctuations on prices, which, you know, get some amount of yard mail, get some more info to make my decision. More of these videos, I'll declare something sometimes if I'm keen, or what I think you can back now, which I've done on a few of them. And then other times I've just sort of told you who I'm probably going to be against and who I'm sort of looking towards backing if other factors and price align on the day. So happy punting, enjoy the weekend. It's a great weekend racing. It's really heating up. Derby Day next Saturday and that big week there as well. So I'll speak to you all later, and I'll post up sort of my post-mortem from the weekend's racing as well. So have a great weekend, guys. Cheers.